2, 3, 4.
Rev up your engines!
Now, here's something that people might not be thinking about, but hey, it's interesting. There's a crisis coming in auto lending business because a lot of people have stopped paying the notes on their cars. This is a lot of money in the United States. There's a company called Credit Acceptance, and it's one of the biggest subprime lenders in the country, loaning money, buying cars, don't have such great credit, and now, guess what? They're not paying on them. What are these guys going to do? There's already nobody's buying anything. They're going to repo all these cars. They're going to be stuck in what, stadium full of cars that they can't get rid of. Now, one of the biggest loaners is a company called Ally Financial, and they're saying presently that about 25% of their customers are asking for loan payment deferrals. And they say the majority of these are people who never asked for that. So on top of the people who didn't plan on paying in the first place, all these people that planned on paying are saying, gee, we can't pay now because we hold off. This particular company has 1.1 million people who are saying that they want to put it off. So there's definitely a crisis brewing in the car loan industry. There's a lot of people buy cars on time. I'm not one of them. I paid cash for every single car I ever bought. But I mean, then again, the most I ever paid for a car was $5,000 for a Toyota Corolla SR5 that I kept for 30 years after I paid $5,000 for it. So I guess that was a pretty good deal. But you know, there's all these cars out there, all this money that's owed. There's definitely a crisis coming to a point here. This is just yet another incentive to reopen the economy as fast as possible. Well, now here's some insidious news here. A company called Automotive News said that car dealers have found themselves in a weird situation. That they say retail prices are only down 1%, but wholesale values are down between 10 and 12%. Well, here we go again. Just like Scotty has said in the past, don't go by these book values because book values are made by companies that are owned by companies that sell used cars. So it's a fantasy world. And now look what they're doing. They're saying the retail prices are only down 1%, so they're only selling it for 1% less. But the wholesale prices are 10 to 12% less. So they're saying that now they're going to pay you 10 to 12% less for your used car than they did before. I mean, it's hilarious. This is how greedy these people are. They're saying, well, on their end, if they sell you a car, it'll be 1% less. But if they're buying your used car, they're going to pay 10 to 12% less. It just amazes me. They're pulling one of those shell games, you know. Maybe they think you can't watch them move their hands fast enough. Well, Scotty can see it, you know. I mean, I really don't care myself if the used cars worth 10 to 12% less. Hey, I keep my cars for 20, 30 years or more. So they don't have any value anyways, and I'm not going to sell them. I just find it interesting. They're mining, you know. They're saying, well, they're pretending that they're only going for 1% less when they sell them to you, which is total lot of baloney anyways. But they're saying if you're going to sell it to them, they're going to pay you 10 to 12% less. So they can sell it at almost the same price but pay you less. To me, that's just the car business in a shell. It's one of the most crooked things that you can possibly get involved with in this country. King Air says, I got a 2012 F-150 with a capless fuel tank. I got that code gas cap loose, but it doesn't have a gas cap. Yeah, isn't that ironic, you know? I hate those systems. I made a whole video on why these capless systems are stupid, because they're the assembly that you stick the gas in, and then there's all these metal parts and tubes that fasten on, and it generally costs close to $200. Wouldn't you rather just have a gas cap that clicks on? You can get one at AutoZone for $12 or something and replace it. You're probably going to have to replace that whole stupid assembly. It is a pain in the butt. You got to drop some in the gas tank to get enough clearance. It is a job. I wish they would have never made those stupid gas capless fuel systems. I mean, it came from a racing design, and fine, race cars, hey, they change parts after every race. They don't care. But on the street, are you really in that much of a hurry that you got to get the gas in and get it going that you can't unscrew a cap and put it on? That's one of the dumbest designs of all time. And I don't know why. They put them on the trucks, and they're in a hurry, so they want to fill it up fast. Yeah, the microseconds you save not taking the cap off. What a load of baloney. Well, sometimes things are so bad, you can't even believe that they're made that bad. Well, guess what? 2019 to 2020 Dodge Ram 2500 and 3500 trucks are recalled because their bed step can fail. You could step on it, and it could just break and fall down. Now, this is supposed to be their heavy-duty 2500 in 3,500 trucks, right? Well, they made them so that the bolt and the bracket that when you open the tailgate, climb in, they're so bad that they can fracture and break and just fall right down. And this is the hilarious thing. As of April 9th, 2020, they say that 100% of the recalled vehicles have this defect. Now, usually when it's a recall, they say, well, we found that 1 or 2% of the cars have it, but we're going to call. This says 100% of them have the defect. So they make them all wrong. I mean, it just amazes me. Dodge and Chrysler were bad enough before Fiat bought them, but since Fiat's taken over, their quality is just taking a nosedive. Like somebody off one of those 100-meter dive boards. You know? It's getting to be kind of ridiculous. If you want one of those, don't be opening it up. It might just be falling down if you put too much of a load or something on it. It really is unbelievable, the lack of quality when they built these things. I mean, it's becoming more than comical. It's in another universe now of absurdity. Who knows what the future will bring? It hasn't even been a full month since they did that 420,000 recalls of the Ram 1500s and a bunch of their trucks. Let's see what the future comes. Maybe they're going for a world record of most recalls for pickup trucks in a calendar year. Who knows? That might be what they're thinking about. Michelle89 says, K&N versus regular engine air filters. Do they really work that better? Is it something I should use? The K&N filters, they're good filters. They're kind of a cloth material, but they're saturated with oil, and the oil does pick up dirt. They require more maintenance than a regular air filter, because if you live in an extremely dusty environment, the dust is all going to stick to the oil. They clog up faster. Then you get a kit that is a spray cleaner and then a spray oiler. You re-oil them, then you got to let them sit overnight for the oil to kind of drip off, and then you put them back in. If you are into doing such maintenance and you really take care of your vehicles, go ahead and get one. They're excellent filters. But if you're like the rest of us and you don't think about air filters, just get a regular old air filter. Every once in a while, take it out, wrap it against the fender to get the big dust pieces, maybe vacuum it, put it back in. And when it's really clogged, buy another air filter. Now, they don't give all these magic improvements that the company always claims. It's a bunch of baloney anyways, because if you did get better gas mileage and more horsepower using the stupid things, guess what? The manufacturers would build them that way because they get bonus points for better gas mileage, and people get better horsepower ratings. Then people would say, yes, I get more horsepower. So don't think they're magic. They're not magic. They're just good filters if you maintain them. RJ Investment says, Scotty, I got a 2010 Camaro. It overheats when it sits still. I put a water pump, but I tried another one from O'Reilly, and it's doing good. But I have a problem. My cooling fans only come on at 228 degrees unless I turn on the AC. I changed the fans. Do I have to get my car programmed or what? They're two separate systems. When you turn your AC on, that automatically turns the cooling fans on, so the AC works better. Great. Also turns the radiator fans on, so it cools the car. Yours is coming on way too late. Either you got a bad sensor. There's a cooling fan temperature sensor. Replace that. That's probably the only problem you have. Now, if it isn't that, then the wiring from that to the computer is bad, or the computer itself is bad. There's no reprogramming that's needed on a 2010 GM for that kind of stuff. Try that temperature sensing unit first. It should fix it. Now, if it doesn't, then you need a new computer that costs a fortune and the car runs good. Otherwise, heck, do what I do. Put a toggle switch on your dash. Wire it directly to the cooling fans. And then, when you're idling, you can turn that on. And when you get back on the highway, you can turn it back off. Simple. It's always better to make things simpler. Why use a computer when you can put a toggle switch on something that simple? Jimmy Jones 96 says, I loaned my daughter my car last night, and I get in it this morning, and it says that the rear sensor isn't working anymore. She said she didn't hit anything. She probably bumped into something and broke one of the parking sensors. You know, they got those sensors on them. You hit something, they can break. Odds are kind of 99,999 to 1 that it didn't just break the one time you gave it to her on its own, that she backed into something. Now, that reminds me of my sister ages ago. Right out of high school, my grandfather found a nice Buick for my sister, a used car. It had a V8 engine. It was pretty fast, right? But it started shaking. So she brought it in and said, hey, Grandpa, my car's shaking. Fix it. So he took it up, looked at it, couldn't find out what was wrong, right? So that night I go home and I asked my sister, I said, so what the heck did you do to your car? And she said, well, I was going to tell Grandpa because he found me that nice car. She said, I was following my friend and we went off the road in a ditch and I hit the bottom of the ditch ditch and then came out of the ditch, and it shook after that. So I drove her car to work the next day. We put it up on a lift. I said, hey, Grandpa, you know, I got an idea. Maybe the drive shaft's bent. We look, and sure enough, when she went through the ditch, it hit the drive shaft and it bent. Now, this was interesting that it bent the drive shaft. Most drive shafts are made of solid steel. But this was a unique Buick that had an aluminum drive shaft. And guess what? You know what aluminum does? It's softer. It bends easier. And it had bent the drive shaft. Well, we were going to buy a new fancy aluminum drive shaft for her, so we went to a junkyard, put a used one on. But I wouldn't believe your daughter if I were you.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.